Alright, let's get into this GSC Invitational viewers. We have Vani versus Gorgie. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, Eggy on Smeargle. So, Eggy can be threatened by sleep. If it's a Miracle Bear, it itself can go for sleep and try and keep a paralysis cure Smeargle. Or it can just attack the Smeargle, maybe boom if you're really scared of something, or you can just switch to your Sleep Talker. We see Spikes and Stun Spore. Alright. Leading off with Stun Spore in this manner suggests a lack of Sleep Powder, but doesn't necessarily 100% mean that. Smeargle Spikes immediately off probably doesn't have Spore. Present's a really weird move in GSC. Suffice to say, either it can do a whole lot of nothing, or a whole lot of damage. It's very inconsistent, and it depends on the type of Pokemon. Like, it can do dumb amounts to Umbreon. It can just straight up murder it sometimes, 90-something%, if my calcs are correct. It's dumb. Because Present is super glitched and crazy in how it's calculated. It does more damage based on your type, but it gets quadruple resisted by any normal resist. But suffice it to say, either that Present would fail, which means it tried to heal the Eggy, or it would do a lot. Mrs. Tiltspore again, that's unlucky. He really wants this Smeargle paralyzed. Yeah, so Present can just do stuff like that. And I don't know how critical hits work with Present, but I know they're scary. Threatening Thunder, Steelix. So this is gonna... I think we see a Roar here as a most likely probability. Roar and switch a Starmie. Doubles back to Smeargle, knowing that Raiku's probably not staying in. And even it is, it's hidden power ring, and Smeargle takes that. Do we see a sleep move finally? That's nice. A lot more players have been holding Spore keeps the threat of it there, and you can also bluff not having it, so maybe you don't sleep into the Sleep Talker. This is really good if the Snorlax is not Sleep Talk. Which it might not be. Okay, it's very likely not Sleep Talk. Roaring into Starmie here is rather unlucky. Snorlax on Rapid Spin. You can maybe EQ there, but it's not worth getting Hydrated or Surfed. Just gonna curse up. Goes to Rhydon, his lax answer. Rhydon's really fallen out of favor recently. Pardon the ads, but in favor of Golem, which doesn't have the brutally powerful rock slides and defensive Fizz-Def of Rhydon, but it's got Rapid Spin, which makes a pretty big difference. And it does not get killed by Zapdos Hidden Power Water. Takes one of those. Rhydon can get 2 KO'd by just Hidden Power Ice from Zapdos. Do we see just curse up? Plus as far as you can go. No, he's just gonna start slamming. But yeah, EQ Rhydon hits hard. Just doesn't take special moves. Let's talk about the team so far. Vani, we're looking at this, and so he might have Spikes, he might not. If he had Spikes, maybe he would have got a Cloy first. Maybe. But it's entirely possible that he doesn't, because he's a Starmie team. Yeah, EQ into Zap. Hidden Power is going to really hurt. That is definitely Ice. Yeah, Rhydon's great at taking 1 Hidden Power Ice, but with Spikes, it doesn't always take 2. That was interesting. Did he forget, or does he just not have a better move? Is he bluffing Sacred Fire? I don't even know that you switch out on Sacred Fire. Or something. Present will do nothing to ride on. Interesting. Yeah. EQ's on Roar. Gorgie's really struggling to respond to this ride on. Charizard, Earthquakes, Tyranitar, does it just switch out if you have Rock Slide? That's a nice move, Toxicking the Starmie. We don't see a Crunch, we see a Surf Sack. And he's going to go to Snorlax and rest it up. This is where that gives another opportunity for Rhydon to come in and set up. But he's going to Curse up instead. Curse EQ. EQ is not taking it out. Rhydon can probably EQ twice here, or maybe Rock Slide, Flinch Fish. The Earthquake on Volpera is a little unfortunate for this Lax, and he just forfeits. Yeah, Raikou makes a lot of sense on this team, because Eggy doesn't do the best into special, into electrics, because it just gets hit and powerized a couple times, and is pressured to explode. And Snorlax, a non-sleep attack on this team, with the 2 mons brutally destroyed by Thunder, and Rhydon, which is not a good electric answer in the long term. So Raikou makes a lot of sense on this team, and you're not Machamp weak, which is one of the big benefits of Zapdos, is that it really staves off Machamp. Looking at this team, he just didn't have a response to Rhydon. Like, his spikes were spun when Smeargle couldn't put him back up, and his mons just get really slammed by Rhydon. So he fell on the back foot. So that's game 1, going to Vani. Alright. Let's look at this. On lead, another Smeargle team from Gorgie. 2 in a row. That is... So, again, Smeargle can be Paralysis Cure, Miracle Berry, Spore, Spikes, Trap. Could be Spiderweb Pass. And the Lax is the usual suspects. Does Spore into the Lax? Is this a Sleep Talk turn 1? No. Does he Sleep Talk now? Sleep Talk Double Edge does not tell us too much about the set. It could be Sleep Talk 2 attacks or Sleep Talk Curse. So here, this double is... He's predicting Smeargle's probably not staying in here. It's done its job. It's got up spikes. It doesn't need to die to Double Edge, and Vani's like, I can just go Koi on if he switches, and if he stays in, I have a Koi in. So Vani definitely getting the favorable matchup. He is able to get spikes up. Now Zapdos, so predicts a... So either Vani's sending in his ground rock, not his ground rock, his normal resist, or... Correct, sorry. His electric check, most likely, which will also be his normal resist. Or his Lax, which Gorgie's Lax might not do so well into either of those. But it does do great into Raikou. But there's a Skarmory, so this is going to be some kind of stall team. Chloe might be Rapid Spin. Yeah, just get a free curse up. Do we see Flamethrower? No, he just whirls out into Steelix. Steelix, because in GSC the slower roar always goes, can just do this. Raikou's out. Do we see a stay in and hidden power water on the roar? Chloe comes in, that's not what I want to see. If it's Rapid Spin, he can probably just go for it now. No, he Toxics aiming Zap for Zapdos. So Chloe is probably not Rapid Spin if there's a Golem on this squad. That's Hidden Power Ice. Do we see Rapid Spin? Yep, because you want to get those spikes out of the way. Smeargle can come in and lay them back down one more time. The only really meaningful thing there would have been a Thunder Para. Is he just going to fish for Thunder Para? To take advantage of it with one of his mons. He's like, no, this isn't worth it. I don't need to take too much damage on my Zapdos. Raikou goes for Thunder, being either just trying to para the Zapdos or hitting the Snorlax harder. It's pretty much safe to click buttons in this position. Crit on Snorlax is really big, but it is pretty safe to rest here. Go to Skarmory. Do we see Sleep Talk? No, we don't. So it's probably EQ. He can curse up here. What cursing does, instead of Whirlwind immediately, it allows you to underspeed the Steelix if you Whirlwind it in. It's a Zap, which is just covers all options. Curses again, you threaten it out. Drill Peck, you resist. And Whirlwind, you don't take extra spikes damage because Zapdos is a flying type. Yeah, has to switch out here. Thunder away, it does slam Snorlax. Without spikes, it doesn't super stick it to the Lax. We don't know if this is a Curse Lax yet. So he just Slept Talk off the Spore. Slept Talk Rest. Which means Smeargle's Spore is now a valid move to click on any of these mons. He's just Sleep Talk and Rest. Okay, he's gonna Curse up, Double Edge into Skarmory. Yeah, you don't, when the opponent has a Skarmory and you're kind of walled by it, you don't just keep clicking curses in order for it to come in. Has he been bluffing Fire Blast or Thunder this whole, like, bluffing EQ, but actually has one of those this entire time? Because you can do that to make sure to make a Skarmory think it's safe in on you, and then you chip it down with Double Edge until it's finally in range. Zapdos goes for Rest again, staying in on this Raikou. It does take a decent amount, and it's burning his turn of sleep without Sleep Talk. So the last move could be a lot of things. Drill Peck, Words. So right there, he hidden power predicting Roar and got the benefit for it. Roar without spikes is kind of sad, but he can be scouting for that last. And maybe healing up the Steelix too. EQ's on Lax. But you know what I'm saying is there could be a T-wave in that last, which would make sense why, if it is. Well, maybe. He was Thunder Fishing earlier. But that last move on the Zapdos is definitely something to look at. Could be Whirlwind. Very well could be Whirlwind. Again, double edging to Skarmory as a Whirlwinds. What are the two last mons? Does one of them really want Skarmory chipped? Yeah, get some extra health on your Steelix. Goes for Toxic. Ooh, does this not have Curse or does this not have Explosion? Toxic here is aiming at Cloyster. You Toxic Cloyster, you get in much better position because the principal thing that scares out the Steelix is now on a clock. And it's unlikely that Vani's team has a Heal Beller. Just tried to EQ in the Lax. It's Skarmory, but he is healing up quite a bit. Skarmory on EQ again. Steelix can play this game all day. At least until it runs out of power points. But if he can get spikes up while he's playing this game, then he gets a lot more progress with these roars. So Flamethrower and Sleep Talk means this Lax is not threatening to sweep the game, but it certainly is not walled by the Steelix. It's Toxic, which is okay. Probably predicting Cloy again. Again, yep. You can just Zapdos is free on Skarm. Let's zap in all day. No para on Raikou. So it is Sleep Talk. He just didn't Sleep Talk one of the turns. That's fine. I guess you can definitely bluff having a different move. Getting the Thunder Para seems pretty good for this team. Forces it to rest if this is not Sleep Talk. Ooh. So, yeah, he's been creating these scenarios where he's laxing into Skarmory, just double edging over and over and over, getting it on the Raikou. And now that he has the Raikou resting, because we don't know if this is Roar or not, it's kind of a win-win scenario for Jolteon. You get Lax in on the resting Raikou, force it out. Well, you could just go Jolt there, but either way, you now have a Jolteon in a position where it can possibly Growth or Agility pass. Because Skarmory is threatened, Golem can get HP iced or watered. Raikou is asleep, so even if it's Roar, it can't roar you out. Do we see a stay in and roar? No, because Snorlax is healthy. It can take pretty much whatever. And we just see a T-Bolt, so no growth, no agility. Now you growth? I mean, like, stick your spots and all that. Snorlax resting here is probably predicting a switch out to maybe his own Lax or Steelix. Maybe a sack of Smeargle. But, growthing here. Maybe if you're like rest. A double edge really hurts. No, you're passing to Starmie. Okay. Yeah, Zapdos is kind of a hard candidate for +1. If you get +2 or 3, maybe it's breaking Raikou. It definitely would break Snorlax at that point. But Raikou looks pretty problematic. You can recover off these double edges, which is a bonus, but you just get crit. You are out healing double edge. Barely. Snorlax is not recovering health. Do we see a rest soon? No, just keep crit fishing. And if you get a crit, that's fairly impactful. Yeah, there it is. And on any of those turns, he can just go to Raikou. Jolteon again. Thunderbolt's not taking out this Lax, so it can just double edge a rest. So how do you break this Lax? I think you just growth up and pass to Zapdos, and then start slamming things. Right there, you might just, Thunderbolt's a 3-hit KO, right? So, you can growth, and then click T-Bolt twice if you're going to break it with Jolteon. And then you have +3 special attack rather than just +2. So you can just double edge you here. Sure, you're in a pretty commanding position. And Espeon, that's interesting. Yeah, you just pass out to Zapdos, it Sleep Talks, and now it has a fun time against this Raikou. Unless it's Rorkou. It's not. Look at that Thunder doing 42. If he hits his Thunders, he wins this matchup. Once Zapdos gets special attack pass, ooh, that hurts if he doesn't Sleep Talk rest. So that Zapdos just didn't Sleep Talk that turn. That's interesting. I don't know why you don't click Sleep Talk there. It's not like you're low, but now your Zapdos is done markedly less than if it had Sleep Talk move, because any of your Sleep Talks are good in that scenario, unless you miss Thunder. And you're not pulling off another growth pass, at least not up another +2 pass with his Jolteon. So I think Vani's closed this game out. That Thunder crit is really impactful for him. Yeah, hidden power, just because the Steelix is in range. Maybe you needed to boom on the Skarm just to make something happen. Do you see a para here? No. You can go Lax or Licks. Yeah, you sack and turn. Smeargle has Spore pressure. Okay, yeah. You can just sack Espeon to sleep because Raikou looks like it closes out this game. Raikou and Golem look like they have it covered, and Cloyster can just boom on something. Get Spikes up again, probably because he doesn't have a better move to click. You can just probably Thunder here, you live it. You can also just go to Skarmory. Skarmory does let in Jolteon, but you can double it to Golem. Are you in ACPH range? Probably barely. Or barely not. If it's in Power Water, you're so dead. But again, Raikou comes in. You need to hope for some Thunder misses for Gorgie. You can probably just T-Bolt Parafish because you're in power range. Yeah. So Vani takes the set 2-0. And Gorgie is the loser of the set. Thank you for tuning in to this GSC Invitational game. We saw some really interesting teams. Yeah. 2 Smeargles from Gorgie. That's really interesting. Peace.